My dad married his caregiver, then she had him arrested. Another Reddit inheritance drama story. My father spent over 50 years building a life, a home, a family, a legacy. And in the end, the person who almost took it all was the woman he trusted to take care of my dying mother. My dad was in his late 70s when my mom's health began to fail. They had been married over 50 years. They bought their house before I was born. Every wall, every crack in the driveway, it was home. Dad was hands-on when my mom's health began to fail. He cooked, cleaned, drove her to appointments. But eventually he couldn't do it alone. That's when the caregiver entered our lives. She seemed like a blessing. She was patient, soft-spoken, always smiling. She helped my mom shower, she cooked meals, she kept my mom company when Dad needed rest. We thanked her, we trusted her, and we welcomed her. Eventually, my mom passed away. But the caregiver was still there when everyone else went home. After Mom died, my dad fell apart. The house felt empty. The silence was unbearable. The caregiver stayed on to help him adjust. She listened. She comforted him. She filled the quiet. But grief does strange things to people. And slowly the relationship shifted from caregiver to companion, companion to girlfriend, and eventually girlfriend to wife. When Dad told us he was getting married again, we were stunned. Not angry, just worried. She was much younger, nearly 30 years younger. She moved into the home Dad had owned for over 50 years. Her name was not on the deed. And Dad reassured us. I built everything before I met her, and thankfully, he had already placed most of his assets into a living trust years earlier. At the time, we didn't realize how important that decision would be. About 3 years into the marriage, things changed. Dad became quieter, more withdrawn. He stopped inviting us over. Then we noticed the spending. New furniture, expensive trips, charges that didn't make sense. When we asked, he said, "She handles the finances now." This sentence still haunts me. One Friday night, Dad called me. His voice was shaking. The police were at his house. His wife had accused him of physically harming her. My father was now in his early 80s. He had arthritis. He moved slowly. That just didn't make sense. But none of that mattered. Because once police are called for domestic violence, someone goes to jail. And that someone was my father. He was arrested, taken away in front of all the neighbors. And because it was Friday night, he stayed in jail until Monday. Late Monday night, I got the collect call from the jail. "Son, I need you to pick me up." When he was released, things got even worse. His wife had filed an emergency restraining order. This meant he couldn't go home, he couldn't collect his belongings, he couldn't even step foot on the property. The house he had owned for half a century, now she stayed in it. He was locked out of his own life. She filed for divorce. They had been married only 6 years. And yet, she demanded half the house, half the assets, and ongoing financial support. She claimed she was entitled to these things, entitled to a life my father built long before she ever showed up. She was spending his money, dragging things out, threatening him emotionally and financially. She tried to take him for everything. But this is where the story turns. Because years earlier, before the grief, the loneliness, before the manipulation, and most importantly, before the second marriage, my father created a living trust. Most of his assets were already protected, separated, documented. The restraining order was eventually lifted for lack of evidence. Dad stayed with my family until the divorce was over and he could go back to the house, his house. And because of planning and preparation, she couldn't touch most of his assets. The trust held strong. Key takeaways. This situation is heartbreaking, but sadly not uncommon. Late-in-life marriages combined with caregiving roles are one of the highest risk scenarios for financial elder abuse. Restraining orders can be weaponized. False accusations can immediately remove someone from their own home. And short marriages can still create long, expensive legal battles. What saved this family wasn't luck. It was planning done years earlier. Before emotions and pressure entered the picture, here are the real lessons from this story. Loneliness makes people vulnerable. Caregiving relationships can blur boundaries. Marriage later in life requires extra protection and planning. A living trust can protect assets, but only if done early. Waiting until something feels off is often too late. A trust won't protect your heart, but it can protect your legacy. So what do you think? Questions this case brings up. Do you think the system protected her or failed him? Should short marriages ever entitle someone to half of a lifetime of work? Let us know in the comments. This story is provided for educational and entertainment purposes only. If you want legal advice on probating a case, writing your will, creating or amending your living trust, or setting up an estate plan, reach out to an estate planning attorney in your area. www.lawtaxnotary.com for help in California.